Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of these end times. This past weekend, Almighty God sent another very disturbing message to the United States, and that is that he was very much displeased with the midterm elections. And the reason is because we rejected his anointed king, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is prefigured by King Cyrus in Isaiah chapter number 45. And Almighty God expressed his displeasure through a sporting event. And he often does this. And he did it at the NFL game with the Washington Redskins when their quarterback, Alex Smith, broke his leg in two places. And I'll show you a picture of this. Here is the defender, number 99, or maybe I should say 66, crushing number 11. And this is J.J. Watt, and this is number 11, Alex Smith, the quarterback for the Washington Redskins. And normally we wouldn't think anything about this, that he broke his leg in two places. I mean, it's not unheard of in sports history or in the history of the NFL. But this is interesting because it was mirrored almost exactly 33 years ago in Washington, D.C. on the exact same date, 11/18, November the 18th. Notice that date, by the way, 11/18. 18 is another expression of 666. The Antichrist defeating number 11. 11 is a good number because in Bible prophecy, it represents number 6, the Antichrist defeated by number 5, which represents Mary's rosary. Now I want to show you some of these fascinating coincidences and how this event this past Sunday was mirrored exactly 33 years ago. Notice, by the way, that Masonic number. So this was what happened 33 years ago. Joe Theismann broke his right tibia and fibula, the same as Alex Smith, on November 18th, 11/18, 11 followed by 18, 1985, 33 years ago, in a game in Washington. This game this past weekend was in Washington, the capital of America, named after our first president, George Washington, that ended 23-21. There's another thing. The final score was 23-21 in both games. God is telling us that this game this past weekend is very significant. And what's the significance of that score? 23-21. That's another expression of the Antichrist defeating the forces of good. 21 is 7 plus 7 plus 7. 23 is 2 before 3, or man before God, or man over God. And that represents the fraction 2/3. And the decimal resulting is 666. That's not accidental, people. I did my very first video here on YouTube explaining the significance of 2/3. Symbolizing the Antichrist. 23 in this football game defeated 21. In fact, if you want to understand sacred numerology, read the book of Revelation. John says twice that you need wisdom and understanding. Both times he is talking about sacred numerology. Once he is talking about the number 777. The other time he is talking about the number 666. And he says at the very end of the book of Revelation, do not add or subtract to this prophecy, or you will suffer the plagues in this prophecy. When he says that, he's not saying you can't interpret Revelation. He's saying you can't add or subtract. You can't mess with the numerology. Let me continue with this amazing coincidence. The only 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Lawrence Taylor, was involved in the injury, which occurred around the 40-yard line, the same as this past weekend. Theismann's Pro Bowl left tackle Joe Jacoby wasn't on the field due to injury, the same as this year's 23-21 significant game. So now let's go through what happened this past weekend. Alex Smith, number 11, broke his right tibia and fibula, the same as Joe Theismann. On 11/18, November the 18th, 11 followed by 18, the number 11, a good number in Bible prophecy, followed by 18, a bad number in Bible prophecy. In a game in Washington, our nation's capital, that ended 23-21, the same exact score, except this time Washington lost. The only other three-time defensive player of the game, J.J. Watt, number 99, 66 upside down, was involved in the injury, which occurred around the 40-yard line. Smith's Pro Bowl left tackle, Trent Williams, this time, wasn't on the field due to injury. It's also interesting that the only touchdown passes that their replacements threw were to players who both wore the number 86, Clint Didier and Jordan Reed. That numerology is not accidental, people. Almighty God is telling us that the defeat of Donald Trump by the Antichrist, who took over the House of Representatives, is expressed in this football game. Now, we're not without hope. Let me read to you what Micah says, because Micah is talking about this same set of circumstances in his chapter 5, verse number 5. And this man, Donald Trump, shall be our peace when the Assyrian, that's the Antichrist, that's number 99 upside down, that's number 18, shall come into our land. Our land is Donald Trump's land. This is the United States Micah is prophesying about. And when he shall set his foot in our houses, the Antichrist is going to control our lives, especially through the mark of the beast. And we shall raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 princes. We are not totally devoid of help in this. Even though Donald Trump can't help us, we will have 7 shepherds, that's religious leaders, and 8 princes. Why doesn't he say, by the way, 1 shepherd? That would be the Pope. The Pope can't help us any more than Donald Trump can help us, but for a different reason. So let's read verse number 3 of Micah chapter 5. Therefore will he give them up. Donald Trump is going to give up on us. He can't help us if we are going to discredit God's own appointment, that is Donald Trump, then he can't help us. Till the time wherein she that travails. He can help us after Donald Trump is converted. She is the Blessed Virgin Mary. Shall bring forth, and the remnant of his brethren shall be converted to the children of Israel. Children of Israel is a code word for the remnant Catholic Church. Donald Trump is going to convert, and his Protestant brethren. But we are not going to prevail over the Antichrist until that happens. We will have help from the 7 shepherds and the 8 princes. That is the message of this football game, where Alex Smith broke his leg just exactly the same as Joe Theismann did 33 years ago. And this is a result of the Freemasons taking over a country. They represent the forces of the Antichrist. They represent number 99. They represent the date, 11/18. So the Lord can't get much clearer than that. And what I recommend is that you pray Mary's Rosary, just as I do on this channel, because Mary will eventually crush the serpent, as prophesied back in Genesis 3:15. And if any of you would like to help out my ministry here on YouTube, visit my YouTube channel, click on the PayPal button, or do the same on my thirdeaglemedia.com website.